Welcome to this series where we will be focusing on the important topic of resilience. This is a series that has been created by partner organizations within the Global Alliance for Youth and aims to give you some insights into what resilience is, what global companies are doing around this topic, and to share with you some tips that our different speakers have picked up which have helped them build resilience into their daily lives. Our series are made up of different learning experiences, which includes panel discussions, as well as some micro-learnings, and we really hope that this will be useful and insightful for you. Later in this series, we will use the model developed by Saville Assessment, known as Resilient Agility, to discuss 4 key areas that make up resilient agility behavior. However, to kick off our series now, we have prepared for you a discussion around the general topic of resilience. This is the podcast that will be led by Cheryl Ashman from White & Case, where she has interviewed 2 individuals to discuss how they use and build resilience into their daily lives. We hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Ashman. I am a manager here at White & Case. White & Case is a member of the Alliance for Youth program. This podcast is focused on resilience. And for today's podcast, we have Ingrid, who is a partner from White & Case, and Tarian, who is a social media specialist from Adecco, joining us to talk about resilience and how they see resilience in their daily lives and how they've used it, particularly over the last year and a half during the pandemic, in terms of seeing their way through a very difficult and complex situation. So I hope you enjoy this podcast and enjoy some of the takeaways that Ingrid and Tarian have to share with us. Thank you both for joining us, Ingrid and Tarian. If you could, it'd be great to have you both give an introduction to yourselves about what you do and just give the audience a bit of context. Ingrid, would you like to start?
Sure. Thanks, Cheryl. So my name is Ingrid. I am a partner at White & Case doing M&A work, meaning transactions day in, day out. I have been with the firm for over 10 years now and still enjoy my work very much, even if it is a crazy line of business, and very much looking forward to this conversation.
Tarian, would you like to give an introduction to yourself, please?
Yes, sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Tarian West, and I am the social media specialist for North America and also Adecco Magic. And I just use my platform really to create content for the company. So it's very exciting. News is always coming in. So excited to design and create content for, again, Adecco.
So just to kick off this conversation on resilience, I would like to just get a high-level understanding of what does resilience mean to you? We've had a very challenging last few 18 months, therefore, and it would be just great to get an understanding of what does resilience mean. Tarian, I'll come to you first for an answer.
Awesome. Yeah. Resilience to me, honestly means like being able to overcome and withstand like any barriers that may come to you through life. So that's kind of a basic view of what resilience means to me.
Yeah, I guess resilience to me has a lot to do with positivity and not letting whatever challenges come at you bring you down, and always trying to find something positive out of any obstacles or any bad things that happen. And especially, obviously, in the last 18 months, life has been tough on everybody, and especially as I saw with my much younger brothers, on the young ones, they haven't had social contacts, they haven't had partying, school and studying life has been really, really challenging. So finding ways of still seeing the positive outcomes of such situations, I think that is what resilience means to me.
Yeah, I think you both are really mentioning those themes around courage and seeing a way through and finding that positive outlook to really being able to get through a very difficult situation. So the last 18 months have been really tough, as you mentioned, Ingrid, on all of us. Tarian, I'd be interested, how have you found ways to be resilient during the last 8 years and a half, really?
I would really say staying true to myself and to what I love to do. I think the pandemic has really placed us in a space where we've lost sense of self. We've been enclosed and our homes for an amount of time that doesn't give us the ability to kind of get out, get fresh air, be creative. So understanding who I am, first and foremost, before I put my foot forward and, any decisions that I may make, has allowed me to be resilient during these past 18 months.
There's a real self-awareness that comes with being resilient and seeing that way through those difficult times. Ingrid, I'd be really curious to understand from you, in what ways have you been able to make your resilience building an enjoyable and fun endeavor? Sometimes we think about it, it's quite heavy and very complex, but I'm sure there's some levity to it.
Of course there is. And I have to say, resilience is not something that has been front of my mind for the past 18 months only. And I also have to admit that there's days where whatever amount of resilience you have, days can be just dragging you down for whatever reason. But my particular way of coping with whatever life has thrown at me has always been singing. Singing and dancing really make me happy. And I remember a situation where I was stuck in a traffic jam for 2 hours, and I have this beautiful car that I love very much. As a German, we love our cars. And it was summer, so I had the roof off. And I was just singing at the top of my voice, and the people around me in their other cars, first of all, they were looking at me like, what this alien doing on the freeway? And then you could see that really spread the good mood. Don't know. It's just, for me, singing just liberates that positive energy. And I might not sing well or right, but it makes me happy. And the other fun fact to that is my colleagues by now, depending on the song I sing in the office, they will know my stress level. But they also know that when I start singing, it's meant to put me back into my happy place. And so I think resilience is something so personal, and everybody needs to find out the best way of building up that resilience. It doesn't have to be singing or dancing or working out or anything. It can be small things. We have this gigantic puzzle here that's been keeping us busy for the past 10 months. That can also cause stress, but at the same time, it is just something to do and to get your mind off of what's happening around you. So I guess that to me is the secret, really. Find something where you can focus on that makes you happy, and that will give you the strength back to deal with the circumstances around you.
Thanks. It's that taking a step back sometimes that helps you rejoin and come back to that situation that's a bit difficult and find you a new way, and that creativity. Tarian, I'd be interested to hear from you and kind of ways that you've made resilience building fun and enjoyable.
For me, I enjoy walking. I enjoy yoga, anything that kind of puts my mind at ease and allows me to rest. Also, just being able to take in some time and just breathe, like just practicing the breathing. So that's why I really enjoy yoga, because it allows my body to be at peace and be at a centered place when so much chaos can be going around in the world. So yeah, again, anything walking, anything with nature, anything with being out in the sun and getting that fresh vitamin D, or yoga, or I think like Ingrid said about listening to music or singing, I personally like to listen to music. So whatever jams I have on, maybe it'll be throughout the work day. It'll be classic R&B or Afro beats or whatever I'm into for the day, just to kind of get me going and create a sense of just centeredness for myself.
Yeah, that centered feeling is definitely one that's essential to building that resilience within you, and finding that or those activities that are really helpful in getting you to that point of centeredness. I have to say, I'm a knitter myself. Many sweaters have been knitted in the last couple of months. Everybody will be warm.
I think there's another aspect to this. We have now all spoken a lot about what makes us resilient solo. But I think another very important piece is finding people around you who can help you and who can give strength back. And it goes both ways, right? Sometimes it's just calling up a friend who you haven't spoken with in a long time and finding out how they're doing, whether there's anything you can do for them. And then equally, if you find that you just need someone to talk, just call up that person, friend, family, whoever it is. And that can be done anytime, really, if there are people close to you, and ask for that bit of their time to just listen and be there. And of course, it's been tough over the past 18 months because there's been very, very little in-person contact. But I still think that having those people around you, identifying them, and then being there and having them be there also can give you a lot of strength and resilience. Definitely
about connection. We are all, in this case, and many other cases, we are all often in it together. And they're forming that connection, I think, is essential as well. Thank you. That is actually quite good for people to hear and know. And actually leads quite nicely into the next question, which is around inspiration. We all do this for not just, like you said, ourselves, but also for others. And who inspires you, Ingrid, for example, to be resilient, to see your way through? That's a really tough question, actually, because there's so many people who really inspire me. First and foremost, I'd say my family. As I mentioned, I have two much, much younger brothers than I am, and seeing them pull through this with everything else that goes on in our family is just, I'm quite awestruck, to be very honest. My brothers are just fantastic kids, and I've rarely seen young boys that age pull through such a situation with that, I don't know, attitude that they have, and still being kind and helping others and going through all of it. And then the other portion is my team. I'm very much in love with my work, else I wouldn't have been doing this for this long. And seeing my team and helping them pull through and achieving stuff together, despite or regardless of the circumstances, and see them strive and be happy, that is really, it's inspiring. Tarian, yourself, do you have inspirations for your resilience?
I would definitely say my family, whether it be my grandmother, whether it be my mother, my father. This past year, I dealt with health issues that I don't know if I would have been able to really get through it had I not had my family support the way that I did, whether it was going to doctor's appointments, whether it was a listening ear, whether it was guidance, whether it was prayer, whatever it was, it really kept me moving forward and pressing into the next day. I think it's so easy really to get down in negative thoughts, not trusting the process, not trusting yourself. So to really have that support system, for me, it starts first with my family. And I am so, so grateful to have that.
Yeah, I bet you were also an inspiration, both of you, to others as well within your family and networks for your own personal resilience through not only this period, but other circumstances as well in your lives. So it works both ways. And I think those are testaments to the importance of resilience and how we come together as a collective. Just thinking here in terms of the next question, resilience and gratitude are kind of two sides of the same coin. And I'd be curious and interested to hear, Tarian, from you, where has gratitude helped you with your resilience, or where have you experienced resilience and gratitude kind of combined together?
I would say in the workplace, for me, I received a lot of gratitude or just feeling great about my actions by continuing to be resilient and continuing to press forward. So early on within my career, I felt like coming out of college, maybe there was something that I needed to prove. I needed to prove myself. I needed to work harder, be smarter, because you're in a different field. You're starting back at the bottom versus being in college, and the professors already knowing you and students already knowing your work ethic, but then coming into the work field and having to work with people who not only do they not know you, they don't know your work ethic as well. And so for me, one of the things that I just stuck with was just my work ethic and what I know I can bring to the table, and staying true to myself and my abilities. And that led me to receive gratitude and, move from one position to the next and grow and make mentors and have relationships. And, it just all comes full circle. So, yes.
Ingrid, for yourself?
While Tarian was speaking, I was trying to think of particular work situations, but really resilience and gratitude to me are mostly in my personal life. And I think the most specific example to that is my mother died several years ago after a long cancer illness. And she was a very, very, very strong woman. And she passed that on to me. So on the one hand, I obviously had to be resilient to pull through those circumstances. But at the same time, I was so grateful to her for having hung in there for so long, and then equally for having passed that strength on to me and having brought me up the way she did. Because now I know that whatever happens, I will make it through. I have that inner core that has gone through stuff. And whatever life throws at me, there is virtually nothing that I can imagine right now that could really make me keel over. And it's something I've built over the years. It doesn't come in a matter of minutes or even months. It takes years. But it's something that I can rely on, and that makes me extremely grateful.
There's definitely that. Resilience makes you grateful, but gratitude gives you resilience. And that's how they really do come together and intertwine with each other. So I thank you both for sharing your experiences. Going to throw out kind of a last minute surprise question to you both. And really that is, what would be one word that you would use to summarize or describe resilience and what it means to you? But then also, what's your one takeaway to people listening on how to be resilient? Just, that one tip for them on how to be resilient. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it.
I can start.
Yeah, Tarian, love to hear.
I think the first word that popped into my head was progress. I think, and so as far as a tip, I'm going into a tip, I think resilience is a step-by-step journey. Like Ingrid mentioned, it's not something that you can gain overnight. It's not something that necessarily just comes, quick on the hands. It's something that you learn through experiences, through kind of being in the field and just, getting your feet wet and really feeling like, how do I want to go about this situation? So I would just say, take it day by day. Take it step by step. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to have it all figured out or to have, an answer. Move progressively, move at your pace, move at what works for you, move at your flow.
Progress and step by step. Really, really like those takeaways. Ingrid?
So my word is actually just a tweak of what Tarian, you just said. My word is patience. I think to really build resilience, you have to be patient with yourself, with the world around you, with the circumstances, with other people, and not pressure anything really, because it takes time. And nothing is more frustrating than building that huge amount of pressure on yourself, thinking, oh, I have to be resilient now, and I have to make it through, and I have to wake up bright and shiny. No, you don't have to anything, frankly. So being patient with yourself, but equally with the people around you, and then finding whatever it is that centers you back and brings you back to your happy place, and then giving yourself the time every day, every week, whatever is needed to go to that happy place. As I mentioned, for me, it's easy. For me, it's just 5 minutes of singing out loud, and I can squeeze that in any time except when I'm on conference calls. But if it's stuff like running or working out or going to the mountain, going to the beach, that obviously takes a bit more time and preparation. So give yourself that time. You deserve it and you need it.
Thank you. Patience and give yourself the time you need. Definitely a great takeaway for people to really work on their resilience. I just want to give you both a great thanks for your time. I think this has been a great conversation. There were some great takeaway points on resilience that I hope people can learn from and use in their own toolbox. And I thank you again for everything that you have given us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this podcast from the Alliance for Youth. We hope that you had a few takeaways from our discussion with Ingrid and Tarian. Lots of great feedback and thoughts on resilience. And if you have any questions, please feel free to visit the Alliance for Youth website.